Hello everyone, this is part 29 of What If Naruto Was in Rosario Vampire, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. With his words, Naruto saw the ever-cool Uchiha Sasuke stiffen. There was sudden wild panic in his eyes. It only lasted a couple seconds before he restored the bored facade that was usually there. But it was enough to confirm that Sasori had actually been telling the truth. Is that some kind of stupid joke? Sasuke demanded. Rather than answer, Naruto put a finger to his lips. He then waved to the walls and pointed to his ear. The impromptu message was obvious. The walls have ears. Like I already said, the girls thought it funny. You should try and lighten up, Sasuke, there are worse fates you know. Well, I can see there's no cheering you up, so I'll leave you be. He headed towards the door. When you feel up to it, why don't we have a spar? We can go somewhere private and maybe clear a few things up between us. I think I'd like that. Good. Naruto said cheerily. Make sure to contact me as soon as you get released. I don't think you want me to get impatient. With that he left. XXXXXXXXXXX. Ow. Damn it, does it always hurt like this? Tayuya complained. I thought ninja was supposed to be tough. Mocha said. I have bitten Naruto well over 100 times now. He never complained like you, and after the first few times he never complained at all. I can, deal with pain. That doesn't mean I don't feel it. Mocha sent her a cold glance. What have I told you about your language? Sorry Mocha-san, it's how I'm used to talking. That is no excuse, Mocha told her. A proper servant does not use such foul language. So long as you are here, I expect you to be a proper servant. And is this, what a servant what a servant does. In your case, this is your most important duty. Cocoa finally let go of her. Oh, that was so yummy. She looked over to her older sister. You were right, Neeson. I never imagined how much better it would taste fresh from the source. I'm never drinking from a transfusion pack again. Fresh from the source. What the F am I, a river stream or something? Just how often am I going to get bitten? Tayuya asked. Cocoa grinned at her. All the time. Your blood is just so tasty. I'm going to bite you every chance I get. Tayuya paled. Hey, I have limits, you know. Even with these things. She took out a bottle of blood pills, used by ninja to help the body restore blood it had lost. I didn't come all the way here just to rest from blood loss. You do not need to worry, Mocha assured her. A normal feeding will not take more than about a cup of blood from you. The human body can easily replace that amount in a matter of hours. Those pills are to help you when there are multiple feedings. I won't drink from you when Naruto is in the village, I much prefer his blood. But I will indulge if he is away. Naruto has told you he does not plan to drink from you more than once or twice a week. I'll warn you though, I expect that to change over time as he gets more used to it. For right now, the only one who will feed on you regularly will be Cocoa. Since vampires don't need to feed more than once a day, you will be just fine. I'm going to drink from her 4 or 5 times a day. Cocoa announced. Tayuya stared at the little girl's bloody smile and began to whimper. You will not, Cocoa, Mocha sounded firm. 1 feeding a day is plenty, anything more is sheer gluttony. But I never knew how enjoyable it was. Cocoa complained. I always thought humans were pretty much useless. I never knew they could give me such pleasure. Mocha sent her sister a knowing smile. Actually, humans have a number of ways to make us feel pleasure, as I'm sure you've seen. Her little sister began to turn very, very red. Excuse me, I need to go. Cocoa fled the room. Mocha watched her leave with a small smile. Finally, a way to defeat her without a stupid sparing match. With Cocoa gone, she shifted her attention to Tayuya. The girl looked much different in her frilly black and white maid's outfit. With her hair neatly combed and in an outfit that revealed some of her figure, she lost much of her tomboyness and was actually rather cute. You can begin by taking care of the laundry, then dust and vacuum the rooms I have shown you. Tayuya looked glum. So on top of getting my blood sucked, I'm really going to be a maid. Of course, Mocha replied. What did you think would happen? Well, to be honest, I had no idea, but I didn't really think he was going to have me doing laundry and all this other crap. Mocha frowned at her. She clearly did not know her place yet. My husband tells me he gave you two choices. If you find being a servant too distasteful, the second option remains available. A servant or a corpse, that was the choice he had given her. I'll get started on the laundry, Mocha-san. XXXXXXXXXX. So that's what happened, yeah. The astral projection of Deodara brought his report to an end. In their hidden base, Pain and Conan had listened silently from beginning to end. Rain nodded once. Thank you, Deodara, you are free to go. The blonde was clearly disappointed but accepted his curt dismissal. His image blinked out. With Deodara no longer present, he shared his thoughts with his partner. First Kisame and Itachi, and now Sasori as well. Considering we captured the other 8 without a single casualty, this is proving rather difficult. He is the nine-tailed demon fox, Conan replied calmly. I suppose we should have expected him to be more trouble than the others. Perhaps, Pain admitted, but there was certainly no way to foresee this level of difficulty. He is proving himself to be far more dangerous than expected. He paused. I think a change of tactics is called for. What do you have in mind? Conan asked. He told her. Madara will never agree to that. We will see. XXXXXXXXXX. A couple days later, Naruto was in training ground 28 waiting. When Sasuke arrived, he had a dour and suspicious look to him. Naruto, on the other hand, seemed to be in a fine mood. How are you feeling? Naruto asked pleasantly. It only hurts when I laugh, Sasuke responded sourly. Really? Then I guess you'll never feel pain again. Sasuke gave him a hard look. Just what the hell do you want? You, Sasuke, I want you. I want Konoha's golden child to be my very best friend and most loyal servant. Me serve you. Sasuke sneered. You're just full of stupid jokes, aren't you? I wouldn't call treason a joke, and I doubt the Hokage would either. Now he really does have no sense of humor. If you really do go around telling people I'm a traitor, you'll simply be laughed at. Why would I betray my village? Naruto gave him a cold smile. For the promise of a chance to face your older brother. At least that's what Sasori said before he wound down. In exchange for information and loyal service, Sasori promised he would betray Itachi to you and give you your chance for vengeance. Sasuke looked at him coolly and gave away nothing. You can't possibly have any proof. After all, it's a lie, so how could there be proof? You're right, I have no proof, Naruto admitted. Sasori is so all I have is my own testimony of what he said. I see. Naruto thought he saw some relief slip through the mask. Then for your own sake you had best let this go. If you go around accusing me of treason, everyone will just think it's your own petty way of getting back at me for what I did to Mocha. I wouldn't start stories about you for something like that, Naruto assured. I'd just K you. I am going to K you for what you did, by the way, but I'll use you as much as I can first. That's very enlightened of you. Naruto glared at him, dropping his own mask for a moment. I'm not that enlightened, asshole. If I'd been there when it happened, I'd have butchered you on the spot. If you had actually managed to sleep with her, I'd have ked you the second I got back. As it is, I had enough time to calm down. Just trying to do what you did is unforgivable and I will K you for it, but like I said, I'll use you as far as I can first. I'm nobody's tool, especially not yours, monster. Naruto slipped his mask back on and smiled. That's right, I'm the monster here and you're the golden child. If I accused you of anything, no one would ever believe it. That's right, Sasuke said. So I think I'll have Danzo accuse you instead. He's not exactly well liked, but he is respected. I think the Hokage would have no choice but to listen in that case. And why would Danzo do that? Sasuke demanded. Naruto chuckled. What? You think you're the only one I have blackmail material on? Sasuke ground his teeth but tried to remain apathetic. Danzo might be better believed, but without proof your threat still doesn't have any teeth. I've wasted enough time with this. For your own sake, drop this whole thing or I promise I'll turn the whole council against you. He turned to leave. Ashina Mayo, Naruto said. Sasuke jerked to a sudden stop. You recognize that name, I see. He's just an old man. I took pity on him and gave him a job. He used to be a merchant. I send him to buy certain pieces of art for me. He's just your go-between who delivers information to Sasori for you. Naruto reached into a pocket and produced a scroll. After all, people would notice if the great Uchiha Sasuke suddenly had to up and leave. He tossed Sasuke the scroll. Root agents arrested him a couple days ago while you were still in the hospital. It didn't take much to completely break him. That's a copy of his confession. Sasuke broke open the scroll and read. The information was genuine. They really had taken Mayo then. If Danzo presents this to the Hokage. You know Sasuke, I am shocked, just shocked that you could betray your village. I mean, you would expect that from someone like me who's just a monster, but for Konoha's beloved golden child to do it. Naruto shook his head sadly. Sasuke rolled the scroll back up. What exactly do you want from me? He asked quietly. Well, to start with, how about you kneel, bend that stiff end of yours, and address me as Naruto-sama. Me kneel to you, Sasuke screeched. Naruto smiled cruelly. That's right, I think you need to know your place. When we're in public, I'll treat you with all the respect your adoring fans could want. You'll still be the great Uchiha Sasuke, the golden child, when we're among others. But when we're alone, you'll be nothing but my thing dog. I won't even treat you as well as I would my maid. Now bend your knees and acknowledge me as your lord and master. No, never, Sasuke growled. I'm an Uchiha, I won't submit to anyone. Really? Naruto shrugged and began to walk away. Well then, I hope you enjoy your execution. I'll tell Danzo to see the Hokage immediately. Don't try and bluff me, you wouldn't dare. Who's bluffing, asshole? You tried to F my wife, do you think I care whether you live or S? You're already S, if you prefer to go sooner rather than later, that's fine. You've already helped me enough. Helped you? What do you mean? Naruto stopped to grin at him. Don't worry about it, it's not something a S-man needs to concern himself with. Would you really K me if I don't kneel? That's right, the only way I'll let you live for now is if you're my obedient little thing dog. Now submit to me and live for a while, or hang on to that pride of yours as they drag you to the chopping block. He felt like vomiting. The very idea of kneeling made his sick. But it was the only way. He slowly fell down upon his knees and he bent his N. But hardest of all was to choke out the words, Naruto-sama. With his eyes cast down to the ground, he heard Naruto's mocking laughter and his shame bit deep. There, was that so hard, you arrogant prick? Sasuke said nothing. All right then, my first order is that you go and see Ino immediately. I want you to beg her forgiveness. Tell her you were out of your mind but now you realize that you love her and need her. I want you to beg her to take you back and marry you. Sasuke looked up at him startled. Why? Because idiot girl or not, she's head of the Yamanaka clan and a council member. I want her completely under your control, which means she'll be under my control. She won't be head of the Yamanaka clan once she marries me. True, so I guess you'll have to schedule the wedding for 2 or 3 years from now. Tell her you want to give her the biggest, most lavish wedding Konoha has ever seen. As vain as she is, I'm sure she'll accept that without a murmur. Sasuke made a face. He knew how true that was. My second order is that you start telling everyone how I forgave you and how you've come to realize that I'm not so awful after all. Tell everyone that we've become friends and work to make them believe it. If I have you loudly supporting me, I'll have less trouble from the council. He smiled at his dog out of new best friend. I'll have more orders for you in the future, but that should be a good start. Now you should get going. Ino is probably somewhere crying over you as we speak. XXXXXXXXXX. When Jiraiya arrived at the training ground, he was surprised to see only Naruto there waiting for him. Where's Sasuke? Jiraiya asked. You two didn't have a fight, did you? Not at all, Godfather, Naruto said happily. We just had a really good talk. We've patched our differences and even decided to be friends. You did? Jiraiya found that impossible to believe on a number of levels. We sure did. As a matter of fact, I think the two of us are going to be best friends. Jiraiya eyed him suspiciously. You certainly are cheerful today. Given what happened, I hadn't expected that. To be honest, I was expecting you to want to K him. Well, I'll admit I was a little angry when I first found out, but that was actually useful. He sent Jiraiya a pleased grin. Want to see? Jiraiya shrugged. Sure. Naruto transformed himself. His body seemed to mature as his scars faded away and his eyes turned red. His body became surrounded by red chakra as he brought out his cloak. With 5 fully formed tails. 5 tails, the Hokage spoke with a rare satisfaction. So at long last he is ready. Actually about that, Jiraiya spoke. I would like just a little more time with him. More time. Hiashi frowned. For what purpose? For the purpose of trying to get his head on straight. Jiraiya sighed. Maybe it's already a lost cause. It probably has been since I put that damn second seal on him. But I want to see if there's any way I can get through to him. No, the Hokage said firmly. You have had your chance with him. Once this is over you will have more time to work with him. But I will accept no further delays. I have waited years for this moment. Now at long last our ultimate weapon is ready, I will not hesitate to use it. And there is the real problem, Jiraiya spoke sadly. Even now you only see him as a weapon, don't you? He is a weapon. But more than that, he is our salvation and our means of finally triumphing in this miserable war. And then what? Jiraiya asked. After he's unleashed his full power and annihilated Suna, he'll come home and what? Learn to be an upstanding citizen. I do not need you to inform me that the situation with Naruto is less than ideal. The Hokage said coldly. In an ideal world he would have been accepted and grown up to be like any other loyal Leaf Nin. But you and I both know that was never the case. Naruto himself freely accepts that he can never be a normal ninja of the village. We must deal with the world as it is, not as we would like it to be. In the end we can control him and rein him in if needed. And in an extreme emergency we can KO him. That is enough. Is it? Since Naruto's return to the village, Jiraiya had been wondering more and more if putting that seal on Naruto had been the worst mistake of his whole life. What would you have me do? Hold him here for more training while the fighting continues down near Suna. You were the one who originally told me that at the 5-tail state he would have enough of the Kyuubi's power to be a decisive war-winning weapon. He has proven himself against the Sound 4 as well as against Akatsuki. He is ready and I mean to unleash him. Jiraiya hesitated. He knew the suggestion would not meet with the Hokage's approval. But he would bring it up anyway. Hokage-sama, we have been at war for over 4 years now. They have suffered even more grievously than we have and are under siege. And with Naruto we have the added advantage of a Jinchuriki. Given these circumstances, don't you think it might be possible to negotiate a peace? Negotiate? Hiashi said in surprise. Now, at the very moment when we at last have the power to defeat them utterly. Tell me, Jiraiya, when the situation was reversed and they were the ones with the Jinchuriki's power, did they hesitate to use it? How many times were you forced to fight Gaara? How many ninja did we lose at his hands? Too damn many, but Gaara's Suna is under siege, and now they'll have to face Naruto, who has a hell of a lot more raw power now than Gaara ever did. Given all that, if we made him a reasonable proposal. They betrayed us and broke a sacred treaty. They joined hands with Orochimaru to attack this village and to Kei Sarutobi. The Hokage reminded him. Have you forgotten all that, Jiraiya? Of course not, but. The Hokage continued. The council demanded unconditional surrender and Suna refused. When I became Hokage I swore an oath that I would gain either their unconditional surrender or the total destruction, and one or the other I mean to have. Before Naruto leads the attack I give you permission to offer them one last chance to surrender, but there will be no negotiation. Jiraiya regretfully nodded. He knew this was going to be a mistake. But he also knew that there was nothing he could say or do to change the Hokage's mind. Leave tomorrow morning with Naruto and bring us victory. XXXXXXXXXX. You know, Naruto-kun, you can be surprisingly sentimental at times. Mocha teased a bit. He grinned and rubbed the back of his head. Ah, you don't mind, do you, Mocha-chan? Smiling, she gently took his arm. Of course not, it's one of the many things I love about you. She was dressed in a snow-white uchikake kimono. Her face was covered in face powder and blush and her silver hair was done up. He in turn was dressed in a traditional dark brown Monsuki kimono. I do wonder about the timing though. Well, we didn't get the chance to do this when we got married. Hinata and I did it, and so did my parents. I just really want to have a wedding portrait with the two of us. I want to put it right in the grand hallway where everyone will see it. She looked at him a little worried. What I mean is that you are about to leave for war. Doing something like this just as you're about to go, there's no hidden message there, I hope. Of course not. I just want to do this before I leave so I can come home and see it already hanging there. He smiled at her. Do you really think anything could ever keep me from coming back to you? She smiled and gave him a quick kiss, careful not to smudge her makeup. No, you did make a promise after all. He nodded. We will never be apart again. He had promised her. Whatever happens, Mocha-chan, I'll always come back to you. A very nervous photographer asked if they were ready. Nodding, they stood close together and took their wedding portrait. XXXXXXXXXX. Before dawn, Jiraiya, Sasuke, Naruto, Mocha, Hinata, and Ino gathered at the gate. Ino was weeping and being very emotional as she wrapped herself about her beloved fiancé and pleaded with him to return safely to her. Sasuke sent Naruto a hooded look, but put his arms around her and deliberately showed her as much warmth and caring as he could fake. Please take care of yourself, Naruto-kun, Hinata told him. I know how strong you are, but it will be very dangerous. The Sand Ninjas are a terrible enemy. Thanks, Hinata-chan, I'll be fine. He gave her a hug, even if he didn't love her, had come to really care for her. He turned to Mocha and grinned confidently. I'll be back before you know it, he assured her. Wrapping her arms around him, she kissed him. I know you will, my beloved, I have no doubt about that at all. They shared another slow kiss as she felt his strong arms holding her close. Return to me well and unharmed, my beloved, that is all that I ask. I will, Mocha-chan. He kissed her once more. I'll always return to you. Jiraiya looked on the scene silently. It was moments like these, those rare glimpses of Naruto behaving as any normal man would, that hurt him most. Would he be normal if I had just stayed to watch over him? He would never know, of course, but the possibility filled him with shame. All right, Jiraiya called out. Let's go, you two. The sooner we leave, the sooner we bring everything to an end. As Mocha stood there watching him go, she was relieved that she had held back her tears until he'd gone. XXXXXXXXXX. The Godine Kazekage stared into the mirror. She had once been called the Rose of the Desert and been considered one of the great beauties of her village. That had been before she'd gotten the burn scar that covered most of the left side of her face. That also been before she'd gotten half her nose cut off. Not even the most generous person would call her beautiful now. Subaku no Temari turned from the mirror unconcerned. The scars on her body were nothing compared to the ones that marked her heart. Like everyone else in the village, she had suffered loss from war. She'd lost her father before it had even officially begun. He'd been met by their supposed ally, that snake Orochimaru. Then during that first bloody attack on the Leaf Village, her brother Gaara had been wounded and nearly killed by that damn Jiraiya. All the participants that day, Sand, Sound, and Leaf, had suffered heavy losses. There'd been talk of making peace with Leaf after that. As Temari left her mansion with her escort, she thought back to those chaotic days right after the first battle. With her father, the Council of Wind had been in power. The Leaf Ninjas had also lost their leader and were temporarily in the hands of their council as well. Konoha had sent them a demand of unconditional surrender, but one that would be in name only. No reparations, no hostages, and no surrender of territory. It would have been a surrender in name only. All the Leaf Ninjas had demanded back then was that they bend knee and admit defeat. The council had been split between those that wanted to accept the offer and those who had wanted to fight on. In the end, the peace faction had won out and they were about to send Konoha word of their surrender. Then Gaara had walked into their meeting. He had simply stood there a moment and looked at all of them with that cold, hard stare of his. He'd spoken in that soft, polite voice that was always straining on the edge of sanity. If any of you try to stop this war, I'll kill you. And then he had turned around and left. With that, the best chance for peace was gone. Shortly after that, the council had asked Kankuro to be Kazekage. The reason was not that they had any faith in his leadership SKS, they believed he would be best suited to keeping Gaara at least somewhat under control. Kankuro had laughed at them and told them to ask her instead. She hadn't wanted the job. Unlike her father, she had no desire to rule others. She had just wanted to help serve and defend her village as a kunoichi. But the council had pleaded with her and her sense of duty would not let her refuse. And so she'd become Kazekage. The war had gone fairly well. Despite the mounting losses, most of the battles took place in Fire Country. It was their towns and village that got destroyed, their fields that got burnt, their civilians that suffered. And though they could never decisively defeat them, so long as they had Gaara they held the advantage. She had truly believed that they would win. The only enemy that could face Gaara was Jiraiya, and she was sure her brother would KO him eventually. Then one day her brother had been captured by Akatsuki on his way back to the village. The moment she'd gotten word, she'd led a large force out to find him. She could still remember finding his escort. They'd all SD. Except for Kankuro. He'd still been alive when she'd found him, but poisoned. She'd gotten him back to Suna and proper medical care. She had even gotten that miserable old crone Chio to take a look at him. But there was nothing that could be done. The old harpy had even told her that the only one who could save him was Tsunade. As though that helped, Kankuro had held on for 3 days, drifting in and out of consciousness. For once she had put her duty to her family ahead of her duty to her village. She stayed at his side and did what she could for him. She held his hand, talked to him and tried to comfort him. She held his hand as he SD. The next day her scouts found Gaara's body discarded in a cave. When the news came, half of Suna celebrated while the other half feared what the Leaf Nins would do to them with Gaara gone now. No one had mourned for Gaara. Not even her. Though heartbroken, Temari had done her duty, what she thought was best for her village. She sent a message to Konoha asking for peace terms. The answer she'd gotten back had shocked her. The Hokage still wanted unconditional surrender, but it would be a real surrender. They would have to pay 500 million Ru in reparations, surrender hostages, give up the right to wage war without the Leaf's permission, and their ninja would not be allowed to take contracts outside of Wind Country. In essence, the terms would have reduced Suna to a third-rate power in service to Konoha. Accepting such terms was out of the question, so the war had continued. As she had feared, without Gaara they began to suffer a series of defeats. Soon their army was driven out of Fire Country, and it was their civilians who began to suffer as the Leaf Nins took revenge for what they had happened in Fire Country. Ultimately her forces had been pushed all the way back to Suna itself. The village was under siege. Despite that, she had confidence they could hold on. Her village was located in a massive cul-de-sac with high cliff walls and only a single entrance running through them. Nature had given them a fortress no man-made creation could hope to rival. They had food stores and water to last over a year. The Leaf Nins had tried a couple of assaults that had ended in S. The defenses were much too strong to be taken. She was sure she could eventually wear them down to the point of accepting a reasonable peace. Then had come the news that they held the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. If that was true, then she was not sure any defense would do. Her fear of the Kyuubi was the only reason she'd agreed to this secret meeting. As they entered the Tower of Wind, she looked at the man who was walking beside her. He was the only one she completely trusted. I can't believe this, she muttered furiously. I should have them all killed now while I have the chance. But what if their intelligence is accurate and this Naruto is already on his way here? Baki answered softly. Can we defeat him along with Jiraiya and the rest of them? And what happens if we have to face these bastards later? Temari demanded. Baki shrugged wearily. You have only a choice of evils. They offer aid. If you reject, then we will not receive help from any other quarter. We will have to face the Kyuubi alone. She growled a bit, absolutely hating what she was doing. It's for the good of the village. If I thought we could hold out against the Kyuubi along with everything else, she shook her head. The forces of Suna were a shadow of what they had been when this war started. They were only able to hold on now because they were fighting from such strong positions. But if this Naruto was anything like Gaara was, that would make no difference. Damn it all, I have to accept their help. The Kazekage is wise, Baki said. Like hell I am, Temari snorted. If I was so damn wise, we wouldn't be in this mess to begin with. The two of them came to a conference room surrounded by no less than 3 squads of Anbu. At her approach they stepped aside. She opened the doors and entered with Baki. She then shut them. Inside 3 individuals came to their feet and bowed. They all had black robes with red clouds. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.